Hey everybody, welcome to the FN Studios. I am John Ramdeen alongside Robin Black. Coming up on November 4th, Friday night, it is the return of TKO 36 going down at La Tohu in Montreal. The main event, a 155-pound matchup. Chris Horodecki taking on Derek Gauthier. Both of these guys haven't been in action in quite some time, but we've had this conversation before. Chris Horodecki coming out of that Adrenaline Training Center in London, Ontario. They're known for their technical expertise and their technical brilliance, their stand-up game. Of course, they don't neglect the ground game, very well versed in the wrestling and the submission department. Is that an area you expect to see Chris Horodecki shine?
Yeah, I think Chris is going to look phenomenal. He will deal with the pressure very, very well. The home of Team Tompkins was TKO.
Yeah.
TKO was and is the biggest and best mixed martial arts organization Canada has ever produced. And Sean Tompkins, Mark Hominick, Sam Stout, and Chris Horodecki ran that show. I think he's going to be very, very comfortable there. Everything you described is and has always been true about Horodecki and about that team. But if you go in thinking that that's all he is, which is maybe how Gauthier might approach it. Gauthier is the well-rounded guy, and he has been traditionally, he's going to have built on that. He might be thinking, oh, all I need to do is put Horodecki on his back. That's a bad strategy, because that kid can wrestle. That kid's tough. He knows how to get back up. You need to be able to and be willing to beat him everywhere.
One of the interesting philosophies we learned from the Adrenaline guys, the Team Tompkins guys, is they're not concerned with what their opponents bring to the table. They're going to go out and execute their game plan. And again, the fans are always excited by the stand-up guys, and it seems that the Adrenaline guys have a clear advantage when it comes to the striking department. Where do you expect Chris Horodecki to have grown over the last number of years?
I think he's got Chad Laprise. He's got such higher level evolving guys. Mark Hominick's level of expertise and teaching, he's better than he's ever been. So I think we'll see the striking improve. But for him and for that team, it comes down to grit. Grit is that thing that you can't measure, you can't buy, and in a lot of cases you can't really train. When he's pushed very, very far, he'll feel and perform even better. That'll be the test for Gauthier, to show up willing to go into the deepest of the deep waters, to use an ancient analogy in this sport, to go as far as he can go and try to make Chris make a mistake.
Derek Gauthier going into his 14th fight. Of his last 13 fights, he's never won a decision, where Chris Horodecki, I think, has won at least 6 or maybe 10 decisions throughout his career. He understands what he needs to do to rack up the points, where Derek Gauthier, it's either I'm finished or I finish you. Is that a good mentality?
No, and it has to have changed, and he has to walk in there prepared for the whole fight, prepared to deal with it down to the last minute of how tough it'll be, what it's going to take out of him to do it. But it's also interesting for him, too, because we haven't seen him. We think of him as an excellent old-school double specialist striker jiu-jitsu guy. He's going to have evolved a ton since then. The biggest evolution that's going to be asked of him in this fight is his mental evolution. Is he the type of guy who doesn't just go out and kill or be killed, because that's a tough way to fight Chris? He has to be willing to go all the way with this fight.
For Derek Gauthier, he hasn't been in competition for almost 2 years. Is that a real long time to have never felt the mat, being there, being in that stressful environment? Or is it, you know what? I needed that break. I needed that break to get my mind where I needed to, and now I'm going to be fresh and rejuvenated to play the game that I always wanted to play.
A lot of the things we're saying about these guys are true for both guys, and that's why the fight is so great. And the guy who walks in there and is so happy to be home, you know, so happy to be back doing the thing that he was born to do, is going to be the guy that starts very, very well. And you don't want to get behind with either of these guys. This is a stellar main event, and I really can't wait to go back and be a part of TKO, man. It's going to be killer.
All the action goes down Friday, November 4th from La Tohu in Montreal. Tickets are available right now.